Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Brendan. I'm a freelance photographer based out here in New York. And today I'll be bringing you behind the scenes on how I take my self-portraits. Before we jump in, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Lume for sponsoring this video. They just recently dropped their Panel Pro RGB light, which we will be implementing into our self-portraits a little later on, so definitely stay tuned. You guys always see me shooting with this thing. It's honestly saved so many of my photos that have been shot in just faulty lighting or low light. We'll be talking about the details of this a little later on, so definitely stay tuned. In the past, I did a video on how I take my self-portraits, and I went over things like wardrobe, lighting, and angles to focus on when you're shooting. So be sure to watch that video as well, because we'll definitely be taking away some things I went over and including them into the shots I'll be taking today. We'll be taking one photo set during the day and then another at night. So for the first shot, we're gonna be focusing on natural light. I don't have a lot of furniture or props to play with like I generally do because I just recently moved in. So because of that, I wanna look up some inspiration before we shoot, just so I have a generalized plan before getting into it. Okay, I quickly just went ahead and pinned some stuff on Pinterest that I think would fit the vibe for the shoot. Here we have some photos. Pinterest can be good for finding inspiration, but I noticed that a lot of these images are not credited correctly. So just keep in mind that Pinterest isn't actually a source you can credit. Go in and find the artist and, support their work. But I did find some cool stuff on here. Also, my goal here isn't to just recreate these photos that I found, but more so to just have stuff to reference so our shoot goes just that much more smoother. Let's get into it. All right, we just got ready to take some photos in front of this moon mirror right here. I ended up pulling down these shades right here so it would create this kind of half direct light, half shade. Here I have my Nikon Z7 with my 35mm f1.4 lens. Because I know that I want this mirror in focus, all I have to do is kind of pre-focus the mirror and then jump in frame. So we're just gonna head to our release mode and make sure that our self timer is set. And then I just have it selected so that it will take 9 shots in total. Alright, we are moving from this room now to this room for some more self-portraits. We're getting some awesome direct light coming into this room right now, so I totally want to take advantage of it. It's casting some awesome shadows from this disco ball and palm tree onto the wall right here. So all I really have to do now is get my settings correct and then hop into frame. So I think this next shot will look a little better with some sort of like black jacket to add to the contrast that's already happening with the direct light right now. So let's put that on and then jump into frame. All right, we just finished up taking those natural light portraits. I hope you enjoyed. I've yet to fully go through the photos, so you'll know before I do if they actually came out well. I definitely feel like I work better and am more comfortable when I have more control over the lighting when I'm shooting, and I think that's why I like shooting in low light so much, because I always tend to incorporate a lot of different outside and external light sources. So for these upcoming night shots, I am going to be incorporating Lume's Panel Pro, which I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video. This thing is super lightweight and compact and really perfect for just throwing in your camera bag. I think it's actually almost the size of my phone. So Truly the perfect pocket light. I honestly feel like it comes into play in almost every one of my images nowadays because of just how easy, but also how powerful it is. It actually offers 350 RGB colors, and within each one of those, the brightness can be adjusted from 0 to 100. The battery is not only rechargeable, but also reliable. I've actually never had a problem with these dying on my shoots as long as I just charge it beforehand. They always pull through. It also has different preset settings like strobing, and with their Lume Cube app, you could actually connect the Panel Pro right to your phone with Bluetooth. I usually have these off to the side of the subject or model I'm shooting on a light stand, but they also fit right onto where your flash would go on your camera, just like this. So you really can have good lighting basically anywhere. So smile. All right, so now that we have this, let's change the fit, and then we're gonna wait till it gets a little bit darker to take our nighttime portraits. All right, the sun has now gone down and we're ready for some nighttime portraits. I can't believe it's only 5 p.m. and this dark. That's daylight savings, I guess. I also just quickly changed into this jacket. I normally don't like shooting with dark clothes at night, but you can like sort of tell this jacket has like a subtle shine to it, and I photographed with it before and it shows up really well on camera, so that's why I chose this. And this time around I don't actually have an exact plan for what I want to do. All I know is that I want to utilize this mirror behind me and then also some colored LED lights. This time around I'm not going to look up inspiration like we did for the previous set. I'm just going to kind of roll with it. I want to maybe go for some long exposures. I'm not too sure, but let's just get into it. We'll see what happens. Oh my gosh, it just started downpouring. So you just saw me take some photos against this mirror with this kind of palm tree. I'm not really loving how they're turning out. There was only like one image that I liked the outcome of, and it was this kind of half a second long exposure. I was honestly getting a little frustrated with the angle of the camera and just this palm tree in my face and them not working out. So I think I'm gonna switch up the angle. I was taking a quick test shot in between frames and I took this one against the window that actually looked sort of cool. The lighting and the settings obviously weren't correct, but I kind of imagined myself in the shot, and I think I'm just gonna try it out and see how those work. Also this time around, I'm gonna aim for a warmer toned LED light off to the side so it looks a bit more natural. I don't think the bright neon blue will kind of vibe with this shot, but I can always switch it around if needed. I think I'm gonna aim for this kind of like warm golden tone instead. We're gonna switch up our exposure to what I would normally have it, and that is around 1 1/60th or 1 200th of a second. And then we're just gonna adjust our ISO from there and incorporate some more light. All right, and here I'm changing up my lens from the 35mm f1.4 I was shooting with to my 85 because I wanted a flatter look with a more blurred backdrop, especially because you can see the cars and the subway lights behind there. But at this point, I've kind of come to terms with switching up everything for this next shot. With photography, you kind of have to be ready to switch up anything at any given point if something's not working, and I think this kind of stuff has played a big part of my overall process. Just being okay with going with the flow of a shoot until you can get some photos that you're actually satisfied with. We just finished up taking all of the portraits. I hope you enjoyed not only the nighttime ones we just shot, but also the daytime ones. Be sure to comment which one you liked seeing better from me. I'd also really appreciate a thumbs up if you can, no pressure. I'm super glad that I ended up switching up the lighting and the angles for those last few photos because I actually really like how they all turned out. I hope this video inspired you to maybe go out and take your own self-portraits or stay in like I did, because relying on yourself for photos is kind of the best. You don't have to schedule and communicate with anyone else and hope they don't flake. It's just you. So if you do end up taking your own portrait inspired by this video, feel free to tweet me or tag me in it on Instagram and I'll be sure to check it out. But yeah, with all of that, I will see you guys very soon. Bye.